This is Jason with Chicago News, and with all this sun and all these sailboats behind me, you might think that we brought this brand new Hyundai Kona to the actual Kona region in Hawaii to show it to you, but it's just a really sunny day here in Chicago. We're gonna see what this brand new Kona is all about. As we've talked about in some recent reviews, there's a trend for new cars to look weird, and sometimes it's just for the sake of looking weird. Here you've got some headlights that evoke a bit of a Jeep design aesthetic, but then you've got weird details like this kind of sticks out, and then you've got a whole nother set of lights down here. Overall, this is just kind of an odd looking front end. When you look at the whole vehicle, it's a pretty cool looking small crossover, but the details here are just kind of odd, and we're only guessing that they're odd for the sake of being odd. Under the hood, we've got 175 horsepower, 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. Puts its power to the ground through a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. More importantly, there's 195 foot-pounds of torque, and it's available all the way from 1500 RPM. This is a pretty small and light crossover, so this engine should do a great job, and I can't wait to get behind the wheel to check it out. For some reason, Hyundai chose to give us probably the most boring color they offer. There's definitely a nice metallic sparkle to this gray color, but they offer this in a really cool lime green, a very nice blue, and excellent red. Even the white one looks more interesting. This gray hides all the different unique design elements that you have here, which for some might be the best choice, but we've checked online and looked at pictures with some of the more fun colors on it, and I think that's what we'd choose. Okay, let's see what this 1.6 liter can do. It's got a buzzy, brash 4-cylinder sound to it, but it is a nice sounding engine, and it certainly does a good job motivating this. For high speed acceleration on the highway, maybe it isn't as quick, but around town this thing scoots from a stop. It's all that torque that's available down low that makes it so good in that situation. Another thing we've noticed right away is this thing takes corners fantastically well. The handling is great. It's fun to drive. Got great balance. Corner is very flat, doesn't roll and lean through the corners. Normally to achieve that you have to make the suspension stiffer and it doesn't ride as well. And Lakeshore Drive in Chicago is a great test of that. There's all these expansion joints that we're driving over and the road is buckling from the heat of the summer. And this thing does a great job over the bumps. It's got a very smooth ride. Definitely wouldn't consider this a luxury vehicle of any kind, but as far as noise and harshness over these bumps, it's actually really good. Full suite of technology and safety features here. You've got lane assist, emergency braking, cross traffic alert, blind spot monitors, everything you could imagine. And this lane assist is actually very powerful. It'll take the wheel out of your hand almost when it needs to correct something, and it actually stays down the center of the lane. A lot of the other lane assists wait until you get all the way to the edge of the lane before they correct something. This really tries to keep you down the center. There's a heads-up display here as well, but unlike some of the other ones on the market, this one has a little screen that projects up from the dashboard instead of shining it onto the actual windshield. It's a pretty big display area too, which is kind of odd since you can move it based on where you're sitting. It doesn't need to necessarily be that big. It's almost a little bit of a distraction, but certainly it's nice to have the speed projected up there. There's other things that show you if the lane assist is functional. We've got speed limit sign detection, so it's telling you what the speed limit is. Lots of good information there. If you don't really use this heads-up display, it actually will stow away. You can turn it off here, and the whole screen will retract and even get covered up completely. So it's something that's a nice feature to have, but if it bugs you, you can close it up. Also in the center here, you've got this really nice 8-inch, and we did measure it. On the website, it says it's a 7-inch. On the Monroney label, it says 8-inch screen, but this is definitely an 8-inch screen. Lots of great features and apps here. This Hyundai system is one of the better systems out there in terms of simplicity. You know, this isn't anything groundbreaking, but it's nice, easy to use. You've got Infinity premium audio here. It's an okay system again, but overall, one of the things that sets this Kona apart is just the value. You can get this one fully loaded, all of these safety options, the premium audio, heads-up display, all-wheel drive, all of those options. The ultimate, which is this package, still comes in with all options at under $30,000, $29,900. The Kona starts at $19,000 for the front-wheel drive model. Still the same engine, but you end up with a 6-speed automatic instead of this 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox. In addition to just a great interface and nice and easy to use, you've got great smartphone connectivity. You've got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's functional, quick, easy to use. You've also got lots of charging options. You've got 2 high-speed USBs down here. You've got another USB to connect your smartphone to these systems. And then you've got a 12-volt power port and even just a regular AUX in here as well. So lots of connections. There's wireless charging in the center here. Like I said, just a ton of features for the money. As far as materials go on the inside here, they've tried to use a couple of funky ones. There's this textured plastic on the tops of the door panels and the dash. It looks kind of cool, but to the touch, it doesn't necessarily hold up. Nice leather wrapped steering wheel here, and there's some really cool accents. There's this green aluminum trim around the vents and here around the shifter as well, and some contrasting green stitching here on the wheel. Again, with this gray exterior color, these funky interior accent colors are great. I think they'd be even better if you picked a more interesting outside color. We've got a really nice configurable 4-inch LCD that's between the 2 gauges as well. You can set that up, gives you all sorts of information. Right now we're looking at 26 miles per gallon average on the trip meter. We have been doing a fair bit of city driving. This is rated actually at 26-29. It's actually quite good numbers for an all-wheel drive vehicle. From the outside, this is a very small crossover, but you don't feel that way on the inside. You feel like there's plenty of space, and I think one of the reasons for that is that you can actually adjust the seat down far enough for at least a tall person like me to feel like they have some headroom. But just the way the dash is installed, everything here gives the sense of tons of space on the inside here. You've even got a decent amount of space in the back seat. The headlights might look funky from the outside, but they're really very functional. They're very bright. You've got a nice crisp line. The LED headlights definitely are the best solution for a headlight. Another often overlooked factor I think that contributes to the handling and the ride on this is the tire choice. They've got Goodyear Eagle touring tires that have been chosen. You know, it costs a car manufacturer more to put a tire of that caliber on, and they've actually done that here and still retained, you know, some value pricing, but that tire gives better ride and certainly better handling. One thing you have to factor into, even though this already has an excellent price point, the warranty is one of the best in the business. You've got 5 years, 60,000 bumper to bumper, but 10-year, 100,000 mile powertrain. Really is a car that you can drive and not have to worry too much about problems in the future. One thing you always get in a Hyundai is a couple of reminders of some other brands. We already talked about in the front, those headlights really reminding us of Jeep design language. In the interior, you've got this screen coming up from the center of the dash that really reminds you of Mazda, even the way the center vents are here. Again, those aren't bad things because a lot of the features that are borrowed, if you will, are great features. So it's just something you're always going to get with a Hyundai. A lot of the controls in here are really nice as well. You've got a decent amount of controls on the left here for all the safety features. The wheel isn't overstuffed with different buttons. You've got radio and phone controls as well as cruise control settings on here. In the center, you've got heated seats. You've got a drive mode selector, which really just goes between sport and normal. Really all it does is change the transmission programming. It's not a big change. You've also got a button here so you can lock the center differential if you get into a real slippery situation in winter. And what that'll do is, say you're stuck in a parking lot in a city and you've got a big mound of snow to get over, this will help you get over that hump. First of all, this is an excellent value. At under $30,000, fully loaded, you've got everything you'd want here. All-wheel drive, great power and torque, tons of features. Get past the clunky looks, this might be the best choice in this class.